I'm sorry. So here's Gary. He's logging back into VT Living, and he's going to see now that the supplier Keith has enrolled from Asterix. Sure. So here's what Gary sees. He's going to see Keith's enrollment form. He's going to be kept in the loop. More importantly, if we log out of here as Gary and we log in as Lauren, we'll see that Lauren is Gary's manager. So Lauren's going to see something more important. She's going to actually have to, she's the approver, she's the decision maker. So she's going to either approve or deny the application that Keith sent over. She will log in and she will see that she has an approval step waiting on her from Keith. First thing she's going to see is all the information that Keith has supplied before. So the nice thing about the workflow process is that it can take the information that's been collected in previous steps and continue to show the form, but maybe in a little bit of a different context. So so she'll see the same form, but it's in a little bit different context because she has this last step on the form. Instead of signing and submitting the form, she's going to decide whether to approve the form that was submitted once. So she has three options. One of them is approve the featured vendor status. At this point, it might go on to accounting, or it might go to some other portions of the company where the financial part of the relationship is solidified. She can deny the status, which might end the workflow, or it might send a notification to Keith saying we're sorry, but we've decided that we no longer need your futons. Or she might say further evaluation is necessary, where the workflow would take a different route. Maybe it would go to back to Gary to tell him that he mistook something and he needs to fill out a different field, or it could go back to Keith and say they need further clarification on a certain portion of the form. So at this point, the workflow could take many different, we could spider into many different routes, but at this point, for the sake of the demo, Lauren's just going to approve the vendor status and hit submit, and at this point it's going to go on to financial, where the process continues. So let's take a look at how this workflow was designed. So here we have the visual representation of the workflow that I just described or just demonstrated. In the first step, we have the new supplier, recruit new supplier, and then here's where it gets emailed to the new supplier, and it goes on from there. So let's say we wanted, let's say we're working on a new form. One second while the form loads. So here's one of the forms that was actually in the process. But let's say we're working on it and we actually want to add this form to a different step. So we're sitting here in the forms designer and we, add some stuff to the form. And we make some modifications. And then we go back to the workflow process and we want to add a new step and actually attach that form to the step. So what we do is you just click on the designer and you can create a new step. So then you can just click on that step and you can attach a form to that step. form to the step. And at this point, we have a number of options of pre-population. We choose the step, the button on the form that we want to submit the step, to submit the form. And then we can do pre-population here from other data that's been collected in the workflow, or from data from our user directory, or data from a database. And then we move along in the wizard, and we can decide what data we want to actually collect and save throughout the workflow. Additionally, we can store the entire form. This is helpful for digital signatures, or if you want to keep the integrity of the form after it's been submitted. So we decide what data we want to collect, we hit finish, and now we have a new step with a form attached to it. Now the only thing left is routing a user to this step. So right now this step is useless because nobody will ever see it. So maybe we want to start at the first step, and we want to add a decision. So we can add a decision based on, say, a field value. So I'm saying, okay, maybe this field contact name, if it's equal to Keith, we're going to want to route to a step. So now I choose the step that I want to route to, so I'll click on the new step. And at this point, we have a number of different ways to find the user to route to, but maybe you want to route to somebody in your user directory. You just click the Browse button, and you can select a user. You can additionally select a group. You can select a variable, so you can say that you want to route to the creator of the workflow or the current user. There's a number of different options. And additionally, you can send an email message to that person. So in our example before, we showed that Keith received an email notification with a link to the step. This is where you would accomplish that. You would write your email message right here. You'd say, okay, I want to insert a link to the step. And then you hit finish. So now what we've done is we've created a new step. We've created a decision based on a field value in the first form, and depending on on how that decision evaluates, we will either route to this new step or not. So as you can see, the designer tool is an easy way to create and modify these processes without actually having to write any computer code. It's all done in the point-and-click wizard-driven interface.